It all began on a chilly autumn afternoon. I, Emma, had just finished a long day at work when my husband Alex casually mentioned that his mother, Nora, would be visiting. My heart sank. Nora had a reputation for being overbearing and intrusive, always offering unsolicited advice on how to run our household and raise our children. I tried to shake off the unease, reminding myself that family was important and I should welcome her with open arms. As expected, Nora arrived right on time, her presence filling our home with an uncomfortable energy. She walked in with her usual flair, a tight smile plastered on her face, carrying a basket of what she claimed were homemade treats. I forced a smile, knowing it was best to play nice. "Hi, Nora, thanks for coming," I said, trying to sound cheerful. "Oh, Emma, you know I love spending time with my boys," she replied, her eyes darting around our living room as if assessing its cleanliness. I braced myself for the comments that were sure to follow. During her visit, Nora wasted no time in pointing out the clutter on the coffee table. "You really should consider organizing this space better, dear. A tidy home is a happy home," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. I felt my cheeks flush with embarrassment. Did she have to criticize my home the moment she stepped in? Alex noticed my discomfort but merely chuckled, believing his mother was just being her usual self. "She's right, Em. A little organization wouldn't hurt," he chimed in, flashing a smile that made me feel even smaller. I wanted to argue, to express how Nora's comments made me feel, but I held my tongue, afraid of causing a scene. As the evening went on, Nora's passive-aggressive remarks continued. She made snide comments about my cooking, the way I dressed, and even my parenting style. "Are you sure you should be giving the kids that snack? It's not very nutritious," she said, glancing at the cookie my daughter, Lily, had just taken a bite of. I felt the walls closing in on me, her words echoing in my mind, eroding my confidence piece by piece. When Nora finally left, I felt a wave of relief wash over me, but it was short-lived. Alex turned to me, an amused smile on his face. "You know how she is, right? You shouldn't take it personally." But I did take it personally. It was like a thorn in my side, a reminder that my choices would never be good enough for her. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the day's events in my mind. Was I really that bad at keeping a home? Did I lack the skills to be a good wife and mother? As these thoughts consumed me, I felt a surge of determination. I wouldn't let Nora's negativity get the best of me. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity, as Nora continued to invade our lives, often showing up unannounced. Each visit left me feeling more frustrated and less capable. One Saturday, I was preparing for a family outing when Nora popped by, completely disregarding our plans. "I thought I'd help you get ready," she announced, striding past me into the house. "Actually, we have plans today," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "We're going to the park." "Oh, that's lovely. I can help you pack a picnic," she insisted, ignoring my words. I felt my patience wearing thin. I glanced at Alex, hoping he would back me up, but he just shrugged, seemingly amused by the whole situation. As Nora rummaged through our kitchen, I felt the tension rising within me. "Nora, I really appreciate your help, but I'd like to handle this on my own," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "Sweetheart, you need all the help you can get. Let me show you how it's done," she replied with a dismissive wave of her hand. I felt my heart race as frustration bubbled beneath the surface. How could she not see how much her behavior bothered me? That evening, after Nora had finally left, I confronted Alex. "We need to talk about your mom. She's crossing boundaries, and I don't know how much more I can take," I said, my voice quivering with emotion. Alex sighed. "Emma, she means well. You know how she is. Just give her a chance. She loves us." "But I feel suffocated," I exclaimed, feeling tears prick at the corners of my eyes. "She's constantly judging me, and it's affecting our family. I can't keep pretending it's okay." Instead of responding, Alex walked away, leaving me feeling alone in my frustration. I couldn't help but wonder if I was fighting a losing battle. The turning point came during a family dinner at our house. Nora arrived with an elaborate dish she claimed was a family recipe. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was trying to show me up in my own home. As we sat down to eat, I could feel her eyes scrutinizing every bite I took. "Are you sure you want to have that? It's quite rich," she said, raising an eyebrow as I served myself some of her dish. My stomach twisted. Why did she have to make everything feel like a test? The dinner went downhill from there. Nora started asking questions about our finances, clearly fishing for information to use against me. "Have you considered how you're managing the kids' education expenses?" she probed, her tone almost condescending. I felt trapped, my frustration boiling over. "Why is it any of your business, Nora?" I snapped, the words spilling out before I could stop myself. Everyone went silent, and I immediately regretted my outburst. Alex looked shocked, while Nora's eyes narrowed. "How dare you speak to me that way in my own son's house?" she hissed, her voice low and threatening. The tension in the room was palpable, and I could see the shock on my children's faces. I had crossed a line, and I knew it. Alex jumped in, trying to mediate. "Mom, maybe we should change the subject," he said, his tone cautious. But Nora wasn't having it. "No, I want to know what kind of mother would speak to her husband's mother like that," she retorted, her voice rising. I felt the weight of her words crashing down on me, suffocating me. The dinner ended in silence, a thick cloud of tension hanging over us. After Nora left, Alex confronted me in the kitchen. "What were you thinking? You embarrassed us both," he scolded, frustration seeping into his tone. I couldn't take it anymore. "She pushes and pushes, and I finally snapped," I replied, my voice trembling. I felt both defensive and hurt. "I'm just trying to defend myself." "By making a scene? You need to learn to control your emotions," he said, shaking his head. I felt my heart drop. It seemed like I was alone in this fight, and I couldn't bear the thought. After that disastrous dinner, I decided to seek help. I started attending therapy sessions, hoping to gain some insight into my feelings and learn how to cope with Nora's intrusion. The therapist, Dr. Harris, was a kind woman who listened patiently as I poured out my frustrations. "Emma, it sounds like your mother-in-law's behavior is crossing a line, and it's affecting your mental health," she said gently. "Have you considered setting clear boundaries with her?" "I've tried, but Alex just brushes it off. He doesn't see how toxic it is," I admitted, feeling tears prick at my eyes. "I don't want to be the villain in this situation, but I can't keep living like this." Dr. Harris nodded thoughtfully. "It's essential to communicate your feelings with Alex. He needs to understand the impact of Nora's behavior on you. You deserve to feel safe and respected in your own home." With her encouragement, I began to formulate a plan. I would approach Alex with a calm mind and lay out my feelings clearly. I needed him to see that this was not just about me, but about our family's well-being. A few weeks later, I decided it was time to have the conversation. I chose a quiet evening after the kids had gone to bed. I sat down with Alex, my heart pounding in my chest. "We need to talk about your mom," I said, taking a deep breath. "Emma, not this again," he groaned, rolling his eyes. But I pressed on, determined to make my point. "Please, just listen. I've been feeling suffocated by her constant presence and criticism. It's affecting our relationship and my happiness," I explained, keeping my voice steady. "I need you to understand how deeply it hurts when she intrudes into our lives." Alex shifted in his seat, a frown etched on his face. "I get that you're uncomfortable, but she's family. Can't you just ignore her comments?" he suggested, his voice tinged with frustration. "It's not that easy. I can't ignore the way she undermines me and makes me feel inadequate," I said, my voice rising slightly. "I want to have a relationship with her, but she needs to respect our boundaries." After a long silence, Alex finally spoke, his tone softer. "I didn't realize how much this was affecting you. I guess I just thought you'd get used to it. I can't get used to feeling like a stranger in my own home. I need your support to set boundaries with her," I pleaded, hoping to reach him. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Okay, I see your point. But I'll need you to be patient with me while I figure out how to handle her," he replied. "I don't want to create more conflict." "Thank you, Alex. That means a lot to me," I said, relief flooding through me. It felt like a small victory, but I knew it was just the beginning. A few days later, Alex and I sat down with Nora, ready to have the conversation we'd both been avoiding. As she entered our home, I felt a mix of anxiety and determination. Alex began speaking first, explaining how we needed to establish boundaries to ensure everyone felt comfortable. Nora crossed her arms, a look of disbelief on her face. "Boundaries? I've always been here to help." "Why would you want to push me away?" she asked, her tone defensive. "Because it feels intrusive, Mom. I need some space to breathe," Alex replied, his voice firm but calm. I watched as Nora's expression shifted from disbelief to anger. "You think I'm trying to control you? "You've changed, Alex. I can't believe you're siding with her," she spat, her voice rising. I felt a knot form in my stomach. Would this turn into another heated argument? "Mom, it's not about choosing sides. It's about respecting my wife and our family," Alex said, his voice steady. I felt a wave of gratitude for his support, even as Nora's anger simmered. After what felt like an eternity of back and forth, Nora stormed out, vowing to reconsider her relationship with us. I exhaled deeply, feeling a mix of relief and fear. Had we done the right thing? Would she retaliate in some way? In the days that followed, the silence between us and Nora was palpable. I was uncertain about what to expect. Alex and I had set our boundaries, but now I worried about the consequences. As the days turned into weeks, I felt a strange sense of calm settling over our home. It was as if a heavy weight had been lifted. We resumed our family activities without the shadow of Nora hanging over us, and I could finally breathe without feeling scrutinized. However, as I stood in the kitchen one evening preparing dinner, the doorbell rang. My heart raced as I opened the door, only to find Nora standing there, her expression unreadable. I felt a chill run down my spine. What did she want now? "Can we talk?" she asked, her tone softer than I expected. I glanced back at Alex, who stood in the living room, watching us cautiously. He nodded, encouraging me to hear her out. Nora stepped inside, her demeanor much more subdued than usual. "I've had time to think about what you said," she began, her voice lacking its usual edge. "I realize I may have overstepped some boundaries." I blinked, surprised by her admission. "I appreciate you saying that, Nora," I replied cautiously, unsure of where this conversation would lead. "I just want to be a part of your lives. I didn't mean to make you feel like I was intruding," she continued, her eyes shifting to the floor. I felt a flicker of hope. Was she genuinely trying to change? "We'd love to have you in our lives, but we need to find a balance," I said, choosing my words carefully. "I want us to have a healthy relationship." Nora nodded slowly, her expression softening. "I'll do my best to respect your space from now on," she promised. "I want to be there for you and the kids, but I see now that I need to do it differently." As she spoke, I felt a cautious optimism begin to blossom within me. Maybe this was a turning point after all. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but perhaps there was hope for a better relationship. In the weeks that followed, Nora made an effort to respect our boundaries. She still visited, but focused on building a relationship with the kids instead of critiquing my parenting or household management. It felt refreshing, as though a new chapter had begun. I continued attending therapy, using the tools I learned to navigate my feelings and build a healthy family dynamic. Alex and I worked together as a team, addressing issues as they arose instead of letting them fester. During one of our family dinners, I watched as Nora laughed and played with the kids, my heart swelling with gratitude. Perhaps this was the change we all needed. As the evening wore on, I felt a sense of peace settling over me, a feeling that had been absent for so long. "Thank you for being here, Nora," I said, my voice genuine. "It means a lot to have you in our lives, and I hope we can continue to grow together." Nora smiled, a warmth in her eyes. "I'm grateful for the chance to be part of your family. I want to make this work," she replied, her sincerity evident. As I sat there, surrounded by my family, I realized that we were all capable of change. Our journey hadn't been easy, but it had taught me the importance of communication and setting boundaries. I was determined to protect my family and foster a loving environment, no matter the challenges we faced. With time, patience, and hard work, our family dynamic began to shift for the better. While Nora would always be who she was, I learned that I could navigate her presence without allowing it to suffocate me. The road to recovery was long, but with each step I felt more empowered. I understood that family relationships were complicated, but I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, Alex and I would ensure our home was a sanctuary for our children, a place where they could thrive without the shadows of insecurity looming overhead. As I watched Nora playing with Lily and our son, Jake, I felt a sense of hope blossom within me. Maybe, just maybe, we could all find our way back to each other and build a family rooted in love and respect.